Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Alex Meredith, and I actually serve as the Director for Student Engagement for the College of Agriculture, Science, and Technology. And then I also serve as the Program Director for our DSU CAST 1890s Agriculture Scholarship Program. I wanted to ask, just as a reminder, because there are scholars here, and then there's also students from across the campus that have been invited. But if you are a scholar and you would like credit for attending the Student Engagement Forum, I really need for your, I don't really need, you would need to have on your camera throughout this presentation, okay? So I'm gonna get right into it, and I'm gonna go over just our session wrap-ups. For those that are new, what these student engagement forums do for the students are they actually are kind of like a window, right? They're a window into preparing you with student development. Um, yeah. And so throughout the semester in the fall, I usually gear these engagements towards internship preparation for you. And then in the spring, I kind of more or less gear it towards attending graduate school as well as employment. So for this fall, there's roughly 8 different student engagements that are being offered to not only students within the College of Agriculture, Science, and Technology, but also across campus because some are not just specific to STEM majors. And so these engagements typically center around professional development, like we'll do today, alumni that actually engage with students on campus with their experiences, which we have one coming up next Tuesday or next Tuesday on the 6th. And then we also have industry that comes in and they also do informational sessions where they'll come in during this time during Common Hour, which all student engagements are always during Common Hour to make it more convenient for students because you don't have class. And sorry about that, I'm letting people in. Um, yeah, so from 11 to 12 is usually when student engagements happen and or informational sessions happen from companies. And they're always on Tuesday or Thursday. Um, What I did do for this presentation, I wanted to make sure, because in the beginning I was going to do cover letters and resumes, but I decided to break it down into just resumes because I thought that it would be mostly beneficial for you guys to at least either do a Q&A or have students talk to you that also went through this workshop last year and created their resumes and then also utilized them over the summertime. Some got internships, things of that nature, but they'll be able to actually give you a firsthand account on, the importance of creating a resume while you're in your undergraduate experience, as well as making sure that you're updating it along the way. All right. These are just some reminders as far as a session wrap up. When we talk about housekeeping, the room is always locked by 11:05. That way, if there's somebody that's coming in to present from a company or somebody that's presenting that's a professional development expert or an alumni, it gives them respect. We ask that you have your camera on for professionalism. Also, that's always been a request from people that are coming in and using their time to talk with you, because it's just respect. You see them, they like to see you. And then also it helps you because you never know if you're going to send your resume across their desk and they can only see a name from Dell State, but not be able to put together a name with a face. So that is important. Definitely, if you're going to ask questions, usually it changes depending on the structure of the engagement. But for this one, I'm going to talk and review a little bit about the resume. And then in between that and the students actually talking, I'll answer questions. Okay. So while I'm presenting, any questions that you have, just drop them in the chat. And then once I transition to the students, I'll look in the chat and I'll just directly answer your questions. If you'd like to stay connected for the opportunities that are presented through the college, that funnel through the college, they're usually posted. They're always sent to your email account by your specific major. Uh, within the College of Ag, Science, and Technology if it's an opportunity being offered through CAST. But also, if you're not within the College of Ag, Science, and Technology, you can also find these opportunities on the website for the Office of Student Engagement on Instagram, Twitter, as well as Facebook, and updates on the scholarship program. So the Ag Scholarship Program has opened for fall. The application process is online. This is the website. Everything that you need is on the right-hand side to apply as a college student. My office always follows up with you 4 weeks before the close of the deadline, as well as 2 weeks via email and phone to make sure that you're able to submit all your supplemental documentation on time. But what's even more special this year is that we are taking students on from outside of agriculture, natural resources, and human ecology, which we used to do. We now also students that are applicable to apply and be awarded for the scholarship are financial management, business management, computer science, informational technology, engineering, and I can't see. Yep, yeah. And so anything that you like to know about the scholarship program can be found on the website as well. I'm excited about this student engagement for next week because last year these alum came in. I had the opportunity to either mentor them, be their student organization advisor, work in my office as my student worker. And so many of them I recruited to Del State. And so I've known them since high school and they're well into their careers. And so I'm excited when they're actually able to come back and have these different conversations because they're able to speak to student development in the sense of where you are, because where they were at, they experienced X, Y, and Z. So the topic for next week, of course, is their view on diversity, equity, inclusion. Is it improving in the workplace or not? This is these opportunities are always, like I said, sent to your email. I know that you guys get a lot of emails, but yeah, please look out for the ones that I send you. There's usually something opportunities that you really want, whether it's employment, internship, or scholarships. Um, the last thing, in each of these forms, whether you're a scholar or not, whether you're in um, a university seminar class, there are a lot of instructors that utilize this as credit. And so I developed a survey. At the end of the student engagement, I will present the QR code. It will take you to the survey. You're able to answer it. I think it's like 5 or 10 questions, maybe I know it's got to be less than 10. But at the end of it, you're able to input your information. Please make sure that you put your name in it, who you are attending for, because last year I had so many input, input. I had so many surveys to where students did not input their information. So I had I didn't know who you were or who to send your attendance to. So please do that because I think that you deserve as much credit as possible. Let's see. So now I'm going to roll right into what we're going to talk about today. Let me sit out of this. And really, can I get somebody to be vulnerable? Because a lot of times, unless I call on a student, they don't really say anything. But can anybody be honest in the sense of, have you ever really been intimidated by creating your resume? And why? This could be high school, this could be college.
I know I have because I just don't know how. So I kind of don't like know what to put or if it's right or wrong.
I got you. Okay. Anybody else want to take that
Um,
lead?
I have as well. I think it's just because simple fact, like it can be super long and you're trying to put like all your experiences in there, but in a certain amount of words. So sometimes I struggle with how much to actually put in there with what I've done.
Anybody else?
I had a problem last semester
Mm-hmm.
um with not I think I didn't have enough to put on my resume.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I talked to I think Miss Owens and she found out and she told me that I could actually put way more than I thought I could put on my resume.
Yes. And that's where I want to get to because for me, when I was an undergraduate at Del State, I literally waited until I graduated.
Mm.
And then everything hit the fan, and I had to come back. And there was one professor that was so nice, Dr. Ryder. He was environmental science, and he literally sat down in one of the labs and helped me create my whole resume. So I guess, yeah, for me, this is, yeah, for me to do this work, it's definitely encouraging. So when we think about resumes, and actually what I want to say, I've been doing this with Dell State students for 14 years, right? Because like I said, opportunities that are sent to you, they're sent from me. So when students don't know and they get these opportunities and they're excited about them, the first person they're going to ask, how do I prepare to be successful, is the individual that emailed it to them. So, and I actually enjoy it. So the number one thing that I get from students that are within the pipeline right now, well, for forever, is that they're worried that they don't have the experience necessary to, yeah, to create a resume as an incoming college student, as well as while you're in college. But however, your resume isn't your autobiography. It's a short document meant to show an employer that you're a desirable candidate for an for available employment, internship, or experiential learning opportunity. And let me correct that. So it could be your employer, or when I say experiential learning opportunity, a lot of you guys have done things over the summertime where you'll go to another institution and conduct research, whether you're still at Dell State and you might work with a faculty member, and then also receive like a stipend. And so that's what I kind of mean also, not just the employer, but then also a faculty member slash principal investigator. Um, and so, yeah, of course, they're going to serve in the same capacity. Writing an effective resume presents you as a well-qualified, promising candidate who is worthy of a face-to-face interview. Now, the cover letter, which comes before that, has a whole different function. But like I said, since we're going to focus on the resume, we'll just stick with that. The purpose of the resume, of course, is a tool with one specific purpose, to win an interview. A resume is an advertisement, nothing more and nothing less. A great interview, yeah, I think it's moving slow. A great interview doesn't just tell a potential employer what you've done, but makes the same assertion that all good ads do, because you're literally marketing yourself. If you buy this product, you'll get these specific benefits. One thing I really want to make clear to students that I've learned, and I'm not going to lie, I was the exact same way. You're in undergrad and you think, as long as I get this piece of paper, I don't really need to do anything else right now. You know, I'm what they want. And it's just the opposite. And I always tell students, would you buy you? You know, if I'm a company and you're coming to me and you have no experience, when I know that I can now compare you to other college students that have graduated, and I'm looking at this resume from another student that's done all this work between internships, experiential learning, being a part of organizations, in the sense that they're stepping up and can show that they have leadership skills that I need, versus somebody that just has a piece of paper and I'm paying you $50,000 to $70,000 a year. That's my money. I'm going to bank on who's going to give me the best return on investment. So that's why these things are really important. To pass the employer screening process for full employment or an internship, educational requirements, years of experiences, courses completed, specific desired skills, or previous internship slash research experiences are also important, to making sure that you're adding to your resume. Please be mindful that everything that we're talking about today is geared toward a college student's resume. I don't want you guys to think that that we're misconstruing anything. This is all for a college student. Okay, so to provide contact information, of course, it needs to be up to date, address, telephone, email, or your prepared website, which can be found on your LinkedIn. Usually I work with students and do a social media branding in the spring on really like everything LinkedIn. So please stay tuned for that or look for that. And then also, these things are extremely important. One thing I noticed, and this was in 2020 or 2021, I had to go on a trip. I applied for a job in Chicago. It was a design school, and actually it was 20, yeah, it's 21. And it actually dealt with student engagement. And so I was on a trip. And so they kept on emailing me. And so I'm always used to just responding really quick to my Dell State account. And so she emailed me like 2 different times. Well, when I got back and then I finally looked at my Google, like I immediately called her and she would not answer her phone, which tells me that clearly they filled the position. And what I'm getting at is, even though I had on my cover letter that I prefer a telephone call, employers are starting, and I don't know the reason, but they're starting to essentially just utilize email. And I think they're probably doing that so that they can make sure that they get everything in writing. Of course, the purpose to establish one as a professional with high standards and excellent writing skills based on the fact the resume is well done, clear, well written, well organized, well designed. Be mindful, they'll never see you. So, again, even in this role, my job and my mission and my passion is to make sure that any Dell State that wants the opportunity to develop gets the opportunity, and that they are comparable to anybody coming out of any institution in the United States. So please make sure, because these things definitely take time. But you can utilize it for an email campaign, essentially where you're just randomly emailing uh, different entities, that different hiring managers. You can use it for cold calling, which is, you're just picking up the phone and you're calling an entity and you're just like, hey, you guys need help with this? These are my expertise. I don't know why this moved, but networking purposes, of course, it's always about who knows you. And then also to drop in. And there has been times where I've been traveling and I've had the opportunity to literally drop in. So definitely make sure that you're prepared. Um, Furthermore, it's a mistake to think of your resume as history of your past, as a personal statement, as some sort of self-expression. Trust me, I am a very creative individual, and I'm not bragging. I'm being very, very honest. And students that have worked with me in these last 2 years will definitely tell you that. But one thing I've learned is that who you are on paper and going through the process to get the job needs to be somebody that's different than you being on the job and then being able to show your boss how creative you can be, right? So a lot of times, and this is within any field of study, because I know we also have textile and apparel study students here as well. So self-expression no-nos, unnecessary design templates. You guys have seen them. Utilize colors other than black. Hot pink and neon and no. Um, because you're always trying to present yourself as though that as you are a professional, not as if you are trying to be one. Pictures. Pictures, of course, you don't want to utilize that because you can be discriminated against. Gender identity, the same thing. Religion identity, the same thing. You want to make sure that you cannot be discriminated for the simple fact that the interview, not the interview, but the actual resume. I had to think about this because I haven't taught this in a long time. But from what I remember, the resume is literally used to screen applicants out. So if you're doing these things, you're literally screening yourself out instead of screening yourself in. Resume writing. It takes about 10 seconds for the employer or hiring manager to scan your resume and decide if you are qualified or not. So standing out is a must. And let's be very clear, they're not scanning it unless it actually gets through an electronic scanning technology. So it won't even reach them unless it gets through the electronic scanning technology. So that's why what we're going to talk about going forward is so important that needs to be added. Shortcut, you can always reuse. You can reuse keywords from the job description. I've done that I've done it in the sense of, and work with students on doing it. Because when you take the job description, you're able to see keywords that they are essentially looking for. You're able to see industry buzzwords that they're essentially looking for. They'll be picked up on from the electronic scanning technology when they're on your resume. And so that's why some of these things are extremely important to be knowledgeable about. This makes it important to analyze the job description, picking out viable keywords, not just any keywords, also called buzzwords. You want to make sure that you're applying power words that can imply action, an action that you've done in the past, and building your resume for completion. One thing that I meant to talk about, and I think this is extremely important because this speaks to the students that are in the pipeline that feel as though they're not, whatever they are doing is not either worthy or applicable to putting on their resume. And one of the reasons why, everybody that is a full-time student and not, um, your goal, of course, is to graduate, right? So where I'm hoping that you're not actually in a full-time job or a part-time job, unless it's on campus, because I want you to be able to focus even more and graduate on time. But with that being said, the only other thing that you have left that you can utilize to create these power words are being a part of student organizations. If you're in a student organization, there's a treasurer, there's a president, a vice president, there's a secretary. There you're able to have the experiences necessary that you could transfer onto your resume as if you were a full-time employee transferring different skill sets to a resume. So being a part of the student organizations that's on campus are extremely important. And you don't always have to even be in a leadership position to then transfer these skills. You can be a general member, all right? Understanding the job description, once you read through the job description once, read it again, but this time take note of the job title, the duties, responsibilities, and requirements. You want to pick out keywords and phrases that stand out. I said I was not going to share this story because I try to stay modest and humble, but I think it's important because it's something that I learned how to do. I was preparing to interview for an Ivy League. I wasn't successful, but at least I was one of three, and and I had nobody to call. I don't know, I don't, and I don't know anybody there or know anybody that interviewed. So the next thing I did was I said, well, I'm gonna take this job description, right? And I don't know what they could ask me. I'm intimidated. I'm nervous. And in the job description, they're literally saying everything that they want you to do when you get there. They're literally telling you everything that is a problem, right? And so what I did was I used my experience through my career and I developed solutions based on my experience solving these problems. So yes, it does sound like a lot of work, but from that one experience and all the research I did, I don't know if it's sitting here, but I have a binder of all of it. And since it was in that specific field of study, any institution that calls me or any institution that I desire, I can easily go right back to that binder because it's all the information that I need because it's applicable across a whole field of study. So please be mindful that your job description or the description that you're getting from an internship opportunity or an experiential learning or a research is extremely important. Understanding the job description will also help you craft a perfect objective if you choose to include one in your resume by aligning your personal career objectives with key points from the job description. This also helps one prepare for the job interview as they are able to create scenarios I just spoke about that. Keywords and phrases. Once you've picked out the keywords and phrases, start organizing your education and experience and match them up with the key phrase. Hold on one second. You gotta let somebody in. All right. So once you have picked out the keywords and phrases, start organizing your education and experience and match them up with the key phrase and use similar language. Words are more noticeable to hiring managers. And they are because they're the ones that need problem solvers. Do not copy and paste the job description in your resume. Only keywords as they will be picked up when electronically scanned. There is another secret to this that I learned in the doctoral program at Dell State, but I think that is kind of unethical, but it was kind of genius. Yeah, and it was genius because they were able to use the job description in the way that you're not supposed to. And that also speaks to making sure that you are developing positive, strong relationships with your professors like mine that are willing to teach you shortcuts like that. Make sure to take time to think of all your experience in relation to keywords and phrases found in the job description to utilize for a more customized resume. And back to these power words. If you see in the chat on the right-hand side, there's a link that I found that I liked that has up to 350 power words. If it doesn't say 350, then it's 100. But power words are those words that describe the actions taken, typically the past tense of a verb, reader engagement. So for example, I sold, try something like I strengthened sales. Instead of I planned, try I executed. And you want to shy away from like saying I sold, because then if you either don't know how much you sold or you maybe fudging how much you sold, the next question is going to be, well, specifically, how much did you sell? And you also want to make it in a sense of teamwork. So you don't want it to look like, oh, I I did these 55,000 sales myself. No, because the next thing they're going to ask is, well, how did you work on the team? They're going to ask you different things that you can really showcase your own characteristics and traits. Power words are also something to pay attention to in the job description. Are there power words used in the description that you could also use in your resume? Use power words in your objective or purpose statement. I'm going to stop right there. Students get so they get very high anxiety when it comes to developing an objective and or a purpose statement. Uh, yeah, and if you contact me, we can go over that to help that out. It would be too much to talk about right now. Qualification profile, your achievements, your education, and other areas that you might choose to include on your resume. You want to be concise. You want to stay away from a cluttered resume. Of course, it should be one page. You want to feel free to combine experiences and skills. If skills are not relevant to the position you seek, feel free to leave them out. And by combining, like I said, you're making things more concise. Don't lie or exaggerate, like I just used with the 55,000. Make sure your education, experience, and skills give an accurate depiction of your background, and don't get too carried away. P Money is an example because he's one of my brother's closest friends. And what happened to him was he had a job with, I think, UPS. And at the end of the day, he got the job for a couple of years. His resume on it said where he went to school at Norfolk State University, but it didn't say attended. Attended means to any employer that you didn't finish. And it was seen as if he had a 4-year degree. Well, he didn't get along with his new supervisor. And so she started doing research and then found out that he shouldn't even be in this job because he doesn't have a degree. So please make sure, and he was fired. So please make sure that you don't lie or that you are exaggerating. You may make it to the interview round because of an impressive resume, but once you get to the interview, it may be hard to back up what was written on the resume, right? Because you're not the smartest in the room. The smartest in the room are the people that are interviewing you because they already know the job. So they're going to know what questions to ask you to find out if you're being truthful or not. Last, anything you submit for employment, whether it's going to be a resume, a cover letter, transcripts, etc., will be verified. So if anything comes back inaccurate, it's grounds for termination if you're already in the role, like I just used with P Money, or a recall to an offer that they've offered you. Get creative. Take extra time to think and evaluate your past experiences. A high school or undergraduate research project could be one. Volunteer opportunity or even part-time job in college might come in handy, and actually it does. I always advise students to use them. We'll look through the job to see what are those keywords and power words to extract. Come in handy and handy someday and become relevant to a job you are applying for. So 2 nights ago, I was getting ready to go to sleep and I was looking through LinkedIn, and then I don't know what made me look at this. And I wasn't gonna look at it. And then I saw this piece at the top. And so I opened it, and I like how he said, that you always need to take them. And this is speaking to all of us that feel as though we don't have enough to have the pristine, outstanding resume that we actually want, right? So he's saying from who helped him, and he's now a recruiter. So HR, human resources. Take a moment to write down what you've accomplished, write down who you are, write down the skills you've acquired throughout your career. And usually, I let you guys know when to screenshot and when not. I would definitely screenshot this because I'm going to use it just to make sure that, yeah, that my skills have been that, like, basically that they're updated, right? Because I moved into this role last year. So there's a lot to always add. You want to write down the skills you've acquired throughout your career. You want to write down the impact you've made in every environment you've also worked. And that's essentially what happened to him. As far as moving into a new role that he felt that as though he was not applicable for, because when I then looked at his LinkedIn profile, he only has a high school diploma. Okay, so college resume, and this was a really good example that I liked. If you want, you can screenshot it. At least you can use it as a template. And I should say use it to find templates online that you actually do like. So at least you can see um, not only what should be there, but how concise it should be. Yeah, and then you can use another template that you like. I don't like that it's in black. I mean, I don't like that it's in green. It should be in black. But here you actually have your contact information, your professional profile. Your professional profile can be converted to, in a sense, your professional profile as a student, your education, professional experience, and also professional profile can speak to what you want to pursue when you leave being a college student, right? It doesn't have to necessarily be in the sense of on how it looks, as if you already have a job. Professional experience, and those things can come from experiential learning opportunities. They can come from part-time jobs. And like I said, they can also come from student organization experience as well as skills. One thing that I don't see on here, even when it comes to education, there are times where you can actually have another area where you actually have your courses. Your courses need to be upper level, junior, senior year courses, because those are the years in which you are taking your courses in your field of study, right? So if I'm an employer, I want an environmental science major. I know that all college students take general ed classes their freshman and their sophomore year, like calculus, English, math. I want to know how a student did in environmental law their junior year. I want to know what they did in wildlife biology their junior year or senior year. And so that's important. And those things can be added here just as advertisement, not the whole, not 10 of them, but but up to maybe four that can speak towards what you're actually applying for. And then of course your skills. One thing I would do, and you don't see references here anymore. Well, I don't use it. I wouldn't put it on here. One, it takes up too much space. And two, once they get your document, unless the job description is specifically asking you to upload your references, which they'll ask you to do it on a separate piece of paper anyway, um, you don't need to. You don't need to add your references to your resume. Writing resources. And this is definitely the last slide. Your peers, please utilize your peers, your teachers, your parents, your school administrators, your professionals and professors. Like I said, I was a student too. I was highly intimidated to ask anybody for the simple fact that I hadn't learned it, and what I was giving them, I didn't want to be embarrassed by it. But you really have to get over that for the simple fact that these individuals already have the experience that you're seeking when it comes to trying to find a job. Hold on one second. There's a message. What is Jayla? Okay. So, okay, I'm back. So, like I said, make sure that you use these individuals because they're going to be happy to make sure that they bring you along to where they're at. right? So then you also have your power words, you have your DSU Office Career Services, you have my office. Something that I always stress to students is you are paying for this. So if you're paying for the Office of Career Services, you're paying for my office through tuition and fees, and you're not utilizing it. That's you. That's not that you're not getting your money's worth. That's you that's not getting your money's worth. So make sure that you are definitely utilizing the services that the institution is providing you while you're here. Of course, there's that do's and don't of resume writing. It's not the same as what I just talked about. There's a whole different resource that can also give you some information. Please do not, this is a lot of information. So please do not be intimidated by it. Make sure that you're breaking this stuff down, and honestly try to do it when you feel like doing it. I do my best work not only when I feel like doing it, but it's built in to all the other stuff that I have to do. So I might only focus on it for 20, 25 minutes that day, but at least it's on my radar. And on top of it being on my radar, when I'm learning, I get excited by it. And then it makes me want to come back the next day and just use that small 25 minutes, because you can't rush this. It's going to look rushed. And I also tell you, like my advisor in the doctoral program told me, you're either going to pay now or you're going to pay later. And so it's just true. You want the best work that you can produce, and only you can do that. And also on the right hand side are the 100 keywords for resume writing. All right, so now we'll transition to the scholars that will talk a little bit. I'm going to ask them some questions, and then while they talk, I'll make sure the Office of Career Services chat link is in the chat. You got to scroll all the way up to the top. Jayla, you can contact me personally. Maritza, hey. Anybody else? You're okay. Everybody else is good. Okay. So who we have today to talk a little bit? They're just going to answer some questions. Also, I meant to tell you guys, usually I try to make sure that we are out of here by 11:50. I used to adjunct, so I know that you guys need that 10 minutes to get to your next class. But in this short amount of time, we have Kayla McKinley here today. We have Alasia Jenkins. We have Elijah Atley. And we have Michaela Velez. And so I'm going to let them just short and really quick introduce themselves as far as their name, their major, what year they are, and what they want to do for their career. Okay? And we'll start with Elijah.
Good morning. My name is Elijah Atley. I am a junior. My major is environmental science, and my career aspiration is to either be an environmental engineer or environmental scientist.
Okay. Thank you for helping out. Michaela, are you here? I know you got a busy schedule.
I'm here. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Oh, hey. Okay.
Hey.
Yep.
My name is Michaela Velez. I'm a senior this year. My major is general agriculture, and I want to own my own farm that teaches the youth, veterans, people with special needs, and the elderly about agricultural education.
I love how yeah, I love how that's not so broad, that it yeah, how specific it is. Um Alasia Jenkins.
Hey everyone, my name is Alasia Jenkins. I'm a senior and my major is pre-vet. I want to be a wildlife zoological veterinarian.
Okay. And last but not least, Kayla McKinley.
Hi, my name's Kayla. I'm a senior and my major is environmental science, and my career goals is to be an environmental health and safety specialist.
Wow. Yeah, I like one reason why I said that I really like that you guys have specific aspirations, because that tells me that through your past 2 years that you've been doing the research on what you want to do. And so while you're here in the pipeline, you can find opportunities that prepare you specifically. Michaela, where did you say you want to be?
So my parents bought me a 5-acre property, and so I'm in the process of creating like a boarding facility for kids that do 4-H, and then an agricultural education program for like special needs individuals and kids.
Okay. Exactly. So you're essentially utilizing animal therapy. I would never even think to, yeah, I would never even think. Like I said, thank you guys so much for participating and helping out today. And so I'm just gonna ask one question to all of you guys. Anybody that wants to, everybody doesn't have to answer it, but yeah, it's really like a toss up. Did you or did you not think it was beneficial to create a resume at this stage of your education before creating one? Why and why not? Why or why not?
I know for me, I didn't really think so because I'm fresh out of high school, so I don't really have any like experience outside of those 4 years I did and stuff.
Okay. And Elijah?
I felt it was beneficial for me because it allowed me to like get my foot into the door and begin the networking process and to allow employers to take notice of me and like opportunities I was doing and stuff.
Okay. Alasia, I know that you have a lot stacked up against you. You're a senior, you're going to go to vet school next year. That is not easy. And so I wanted to know last year when you participated at that time, did you think that it would be beneficial to create a resume and why or why not?
I did. I had already had one, so you guys kind of had just helped me update it and make it better. It's been really beneficial because I had an internship that I was able to use my resume for this summer, and it was a 4-week internship at a wildlife conservation, so it helped a lot.
And also the thing is, that I think that is one more thing I should say, because you just reminded me when you said that you were able to win an internship. Um, if you have a really good resume, you're able to literally make sure that it's either on file in my office or when you come across professionals on campus, because there are so many opportunities. There's companies that call me that need a student. There's so many institutions that I'm working with right now that need students. I was working one yesterday, University of Delaware. And so if I have it on file, I can immediately say, oh, this is an excellent candidate. But if I don't, I can't really do or say anything about the student, or I have to pass over that student to get to one of the other 900 in the college. So that's also an added benefit, is making sure that it's prepared and that individuals in an organization have it, that could potentially offer you opportunity. Um, and so, Alasia, you said that's how you utilized your resume. Elijah, how have you utilized your resume, and was it successful?
I was able to utilize my resume by um gaining a interview with the USDA, APHIS PPQ, and I was able to gain an internship over the summer with regards to the spotted lanternfly project.
Wow. Okay. Kayla?
I've used my internship, I mean my resume for multiple internships. My resume, the first internship I got was with Dr. Osbey, and I used my resume for that when I was a freshman. And just using the experience that I had from classes really helped get me that internship, but including that in my resume helped me get that first internship. But this summer, I got another internship with the University of Delaware, and my internship or my resume helped me a lot with that because I didn't really have that much related because I did a agricultural economics internship this summer. So my background wasn't in that, but them seeing how hardworking I was and adapting to all these different positions from my resume really helped me get that internship. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I'm proud of you. I'm all happy for you too. Um, and Michaela, I know you have an extensive background, so I know you've utilized your resume a lot. So any success or
So obviously to begin with, I thought they were pointless, but I realized that I'm a bigger asset to different places and different work environments when you have resume. Like my fellow students have said, classmates, I mean, they allow you to get a lot of internships. It's also provided me funding for the farm that I'm in the process of creating. Um, I've also been able to make my resume more creative with Dr. Meredith's help. and it's made me stand out by checking different databases and like Indeed to make sure that the job that I am hoping to create, the like requirements that other people are wanting, to make sure that I have things that relate in my resume, and making sure that like every June 1st I make sure that it's up to date so I don't stress out or procrastinate at the end of like my senior year now. I'm glad that I started freshman year because it would have been a lot more, and I wouldn't have had as many opportunities.
Okay. And so with that being said, and this is a question for Elijah. How did you actually go about creating your resume in terms of any resources that you might have used?
Um, the first way I went about completing my resume was with your help, of course. Just to, start me off and like get me into the process of like actually knowing how to, add things to my resume and stuff, and just digging more deep into like what I actually need to put onto my resume and keeping track of all my achievements and accomplishments as well.
Okay. Michaela, what resources did you use?
So sorry, I have my cheat sheet over here just so I
I
don't.
know, me too.
So I
See,
started with my resume that I wrote for this scholarship, obviously. And thinking back, I always thought that this scholarship was like the only one I'd get, but making sure to keep up to date and stuff because there's other scholarships I've also gained. And adding my work experience and other leadership experience, and then having obviously you fine tune it and make sure that I'm not repetitive because that's something I do a lot. And creating like a more creative resume really helped with the whole process.
oh, Alasia, what resources did you use?
So for me, it was a lot of like advice I was given. But on top of that, I used a lot of volunteer experiences as well as campus because I was in a lot of organizations. I would put those on there as well, and it kind of helped with like leadership positions or just showing that I was really active within the community.
Okay. And Kayla?
I actually had a lot of help from my mom because she has hired a lot of people in the positions that she's had. And at first, I really wanted to work for the government, and she was a government employee for 25 years. So she
Wow.
knew how to help me cater my resume for government jobs. So she really helped me. And I first made my resume actually for the same reason Michaela said, was for the scholarship. So well, I just have been building on that for the over the years. So
Cool. And then this is the last question, and we're finished, is essentially what advice would you give uh, any other student that has not started or does not have a resume or might not even be motivated or might feel like, oh, I got 4 years, or what advice would you give them, Malaysia?
Honestly, any activities or like clubs or like volunteer, anything that you've been doing, like mark it down because if you, the longer you wait, the harder it is to try to remember exactly what it is you did. And so you can't really put it on there because you can't really speak about it as much as if you just go ahead and write it on there.
And Kayla?
I agree with that. I think the best way to start is like just brain dump everything you think you might want to include and then have somebody kind of weave out the stuff that might not be helpful, and then you can go from there. Because if you just have everything and then have a higher up person look at it and be like, you might not need this, you can fine tune this a little bit to make this look better, then you really have somewhere, have a good start. And I think that helps a lot of people.
So essentially, let them tell you what
Yeah.
needs to be taken away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that Dr. Todd taught me in the professional development process. Even when you're interviewing, negotiating a salary, and you think that you might be asking for too much, she always told me, let them tell you. So that's a brilliant move. Michaela, any advice?
So kind of like restating what I said before, just make sure that you kind of refurbish your resume every semester, every year. Make sure that you ask your advisors and like you can ask professors and other students that are in different majors than you what they included on theirs because most likely they'll have some other topics, but and other information that you can actually think about and reword to fit your qualifications and to make you stand out more, because everyone's opinions are different, but they all can kind of help you in the future.
Okay. And then last but not least, Elijah.
I would have to agree with Elijah and Kayla on like writing every opportunity that you do as well as obtain, and also don't be afraid of asking for help and take every opportunity that you get, because you want your resume to stand out apart from everybody else so you do get the job that you want. So that's what I would say.
And then, okay, so we're gonna transition. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, because was beneficial. And so we're gonna finish up. I'm gonna give you guys the survey link for the survey. Also, I forgot to mention each student engagement, if you complete the survey, you get a $10 Wawa gift card. Well, it's a Wawa gift card drawing. So one student wins that $10. And so of course, at the end of the survey, that's why you're in the attendance area. It's also important. I've had students win gift cards and I don't even know how to contact them or give it to them. So I'm putting back up the screen with the QR code that has the survey that I just spoke of. I think this year I opened it at 11:45 instead of 12. And so this is the QR code. The QR code takes you directly to the survey. I also just dropped the survey link that you see here. If you don't want to use the QR code, you want to use the link, I just dropped the link into the chat on the right-hand side at the bottom. And then also, okay, so it opens at 11:45 today and it closes at 12:30. So if you do it after 12:30, you can't do it. I won't reset it, anything like that. That's your only window of time, either from 11:45 to 12:30 or not at all. So even if I get a message after 12:30 that says, "Oh, it never worked for me," I apologize, but I'm not going to reset it. So this is the QR code. That's also the link. And let's see, at 11:45 right now, if it is not, actually it's 11:50. If this is popping up ever from any of the engagements, if you get this to pop, if this pops up and you do it at 11:49 and even actually at 11:50, this is what will pop up. And this just says basically that it's not open yet. So from 11:51 all the way down to 12:30 is when it's actually open. Does anybody have any questions for me? Whether it's about the student engagement forums, because like I said, this is the first one. We're starting off a brand new year. None. Well, hold on. Okay, I'm back. None. Okay. Well, I enjoyed myself. I hope that everybody gained some information and experience, and I wish you guys all the luck to make sure that you can utilize your resume document to get what you want professionally and or academically. Again, one more time, on September 6th of next week is when the student engagement forum will be the alumni take, where, yeah, so we have those 4 alums that are coming in, but then the last alum, Latice Hickson, she works for Reebok. She's a textile apparel studies major, and she just confirmed last night. That's why she's not on the brochure. But Miss Hickson will be here from Reebok talking about DEI in the workplace. So it's going to be a really interesting conversation. I hope that you guys make it. All right. Well, everybody take care and enjoy the rest of your week.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You too. Take care.
Take care.
Have a good one.
You too.